More stimulus money being sent to millions of Americans today, but some people are having problems getting those funds. Consumer investigator Steve Sprague digging deeper to tell you what may be holding up your payment and the timeline for sending out all that cash.
By direct deposit, 17 million more via the U.S. Postal Service. If you don't get your payment by direct deposit today, then it's coming in the mail. Those items being sent through the mail could either be government debit cards or paper checks.
Over 20 states and cities have officially decided to send out more financial relief checks to everybody. State officials have released new information as to who will be eligible for the stimulus payments, everybody. And now I know many of you guys are wondering whether your state or city will send out stimulus money of their own. Well, watch until the end because we have a ton of information about the fourth stimulus check and Social Security benefits that you have to know. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, reported that the unemployment rate dipped 3.5% in September, and inflation also remained near a 40-year high. As a result, families are living paycheck to paycheck. The IRS has also made adjustments that could mean lower tax rates for many people next year. There are actually 20 states that decide to send out more financial aid to the residents, everybody. And some of these payments are going to those that need it the most. Residents of Rhode Island will be getting payments from the state in the form of a child tax credit rebate that pays families up to $250 per child. An announcement from the Rhode Island governor said the state issued payments early this month, and they will be dispersed to qualified taxpayers over the next several weeks. The rebates are part of the fiscal year 2023 budget signed by McKee and approved by the General Assembly. The rebates are available to Rhode Island residents making up to $100,000 a year for individual filers and $200,000 for joint filers. Payments will be sent to nearly 115,000 people in the state. The high cost of living has also forced a governor to push and introduce an economic stimulus plan, but Republican state lawmakers say the plan just lacks common sense. The Pennsylvania Opportunity Program would issue stimulus checks of up to $2,000 to qualified households making $80,000 or less. It's stated to aim and help families still recover from the crisis and that are struggling with inflation. Governor Wolf threw his support behind the proposal for new stimulus payments. The governor said it's going to provide a needed buffer against high prices. It's going to give families the room to get back on their feet. I first proposed the Pennsylvania Opportunity Program way back in February, but Republican leaders wouldn't get on board with funding it. And the new batch of inflation data has also released and showed that while prices remain uncomfortably high in September, a slowdown in wage growth indicates that relief may be in sight. It's encouraging development for the Federal Reserve, which is battling to bring down the highest rates of inflation in 40 years. The Personal Consumption Expenditures Index also measures prices paid by consumers for goods and services. Combined inclined by 0.3% from August to September, however remained unchanged at 6.2% for the year. According to the latest report from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, it removes volatile food and energy prices and is the Fed's preferred measure of inflation. It climbed by 5.1%, and that is higher than the August rate of 4.9%. From August to September, the core index rose by 0.5, and now the Bureau of Labor Statistics released its latest unemployment data, and it shows a slowdown in wage and salary growth and quarterly labor cost. The central bank keeps a close eye on the ECI report to monitor the extent to which inflation is boosting wages and fueling inflation. Now, the latest numbers come just days before the Fed meets to discuss another rate hike, and as Americans hit the polls to vote in midterm elections. But some of the underlying metrics
get set for more money, possibly. There are reports of a fourth check, and we want to get you over to KCTV5's Kelly Taylor at the 5 Alert Desk. Good morning to you, Kelly.
Good morning, Joe. Well, here's what we know right now. Congress is already working on the next relief bill. 10 Senate Democrats want a fourth stimulus check, and if that happens, you wouldn't see that money until October. Now, this group also wants to keep extending unemployment insurance. The latest extension expires September 6th. No word yet on how much the checks would be or the eligibility requirement.
We have huge announcements on the fourth stimulus payments. Monthly stimulus checks are finally beginning to go out, and it's due to the crisis. However, dozens of Democrats are calling for immediate action, and this can mean billions of dollars being allocated toward new stimulus programs. Now, here is some breaking news. Dozens of House Democrats have actually been calling on caucus leadership to extend the enhanced child tax credit in the lame duck session. It comes as lawmakers look to tick off more legislative priorities in the final weeks of the passing bills. And members of the new Democratic coalition, it's the largest Democratic coalition in the House, wrote a letter to Nancy Pelosi. They said that they want more stimulus payments out. They wrote a letter to Nancy Pelosi, Senator Clyburn, and Bernie Sanders. The letter wrote that lawmakers want and demand prioritizing the stimulus checks and child tax credit in a end-of-year package before 2023. Congress also said they expanded child tax credit in the American Rescue Plan, a $1.9 trillion relief bill that President Biden signed just weeks into his presidency is about to happen. The measure increased the child tax credit from $2,000 to $3,600 and $3,000 for other children under 18. Congress did manage to include a form of paid family leave in the CARES Act, and it's the first legislative response to the crisis. But with the Senate narrowly leading the Republicans this time, a lack of GOP willingness to renew these benefits meant that paid family leave expired at the end of the year. The last payment with the enhanced provision was sent on December. And now, according to a study, nearly 4 million people fell into poverty in January after this provision expired. So the group of lawmakers also said that the enhanced child tax credit lifted millions of people out of poverty, giving parents the flexibility to return to work and provided families a stronger opportunity to exceed. Democrats believe that we must extend the enhanced child tax credit so families and children have the resources and opportunities to flourish. The lawmakers are also pushing for Congress to advance the research and development tax credit fix, which the new Democratic coalition said is essential to investing in American competitiveness. So the research and development, everybody, said that some domestic expenses have because of companies. A measure in the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, crafted by Republicans, enacted a provision that requires companies to seek deductions under a tax credit over 5 years, rather than after the first year. According to Democrats, the research and development tax credit has helped foster the competitiveness and innovation of U.S. economy and American businesses. So folks, now don't forget about this. If you did not receive a monthly child tax credit check and have not filed your taxes, you must do so to receive the extra money. Taxpayers can actually claim the benefit and payment by filing a tax return. However, this year's tax season ended very, very early, so you may be able to still get the money if you claim the credit by filing your return after those dates. However, since both deadlines have passed, the amount of money you're eligible for would be reduced by penalties, and refunds would be less than expected. So hopefully, everybody, we see President Biden take up and send out the stimulus payments before before the end of the year.
It's an honor. It's an honor to once again participate in this critical summit. And I'd like to thank our host, President Sisi, for bringing us together.
Develops and administers human capital policies for the federal workforce and functions as the bedrock of our nation's personnel and management efforts across the executive branch, while the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs, known as OIRA, serves as the central authority for the review and coordination of federal regulations. Mr. Shriver, if confirmed, you will be OPM's Deputy Director charged with setting the policies for more than 1.8 million dedicated public servants, which will require agency leadership that can build confidence in OPM and maintain a nonpartisan, merit-based workforce.